Bitcoin's weekly candle is up 17% so far. That we haven't seen in a year. This is very exciting. So it's now the time to go all in crypto again. And should you go all in Bitcoin or altcoins? And if so, which one? Ethereum, Solana, or Cardano, or BNB, or another one? I know a lot of you are thinking about this right now, and me too, of course. And I'll share my conclusions exactly. No holding back. First, I'm not your financial advisor, so in the end you will have to make that decision from your own personal situation. I can educate, give you tools, I can analyze the charts, and I can tell you what I do. But in the end, you have to steer your own ship and make the decision yourself. I actually think the charts are unusually clear right now. Please subscribe, guys. Please like and press the bell. The YouTube algo isn't my friend, so if you don't press the bell, YouTube might never notify you again. Thank you. I said one thing that was wrong in yesterday's short. I said that clearly new whales have come into Bitcoin. That we don't know. The spike in number of wallets was because of the WBTC, the wrapped BTC custodian, was rearranging their wallets. This analytics platform tweeted it. Now I have a subscription on the other on-chain analytics platform, CryptoQuant, but I still bought the 1-year subscription on this platform yesterday just to check the chart myself. But turns out even after that I can still only check the number of addresses, not how many coins are in each address. To do that I would need to buy another subscription for $10,000 for a year just to check that, and I never do anything that doesn't provide me some value long term for at least a year. That seemed a bit hefty to me. Just because I have money doesn't mean I like to waste it, so I assumed that they had checked it before tweeting. I assumed wrong. You can't trust anyone on Twitter, not even analytics platforms. You have to check everything. But I think my statement was still not completely wrong. We can say for sure that large holders have been buying. Why? Because otherwise price can't jump 30% in 5 days. We just can't say for sure it's new whales. Could be old whales. But I think reasonably it's a mix of both. Then the other thing that many of you asked about after that short was the 42%. And that is correct. The numbers here are cumulative. So 42% of all Bitcoins is held in wallets with 1,000 or more BTC. And if we continue up here, you can see that 95% of all Bitcoin is held in wallets with 1 BTC or more. So Bitcoin isn't really very equal. Neither is other forms of money, but still this is very unequal. Now there is at least one problem with jumping to that conclusion, and that is that many have their coins on exchanges. So one big Binance wallet for sure belongs to a large number of people, making it more equal than this number would suggest. On the other hand, one person could have multiple large wallets, making it more unequal. Anyway, the statement that almost half of all Bitcoin is held in wallets with 1,000 BTC or more was correct. Now let's jump into the charts and the conclusions, because we are in a very exciting time in the markets. So let's take out the charts, guys. Very excited. If we start by looking at the weekly chart, we see something astonishing here actually. The current weekly candle so far is 17%, 16.96% up. That we haven't seen since, not here, not here. We haven't seen that since February 2021, over a year ago. If we go back to our usual daily candles, we see something very interesting here. I want to show you something that I wrote in last week's newsletter, when price was 38,200. I wrote, so actually I think there is a decent risk reward to enter here, with a stop loss at the close below this 36,600 line. 4% downside and unknown upside as usual. That would have worked brilliantly, because we never closed below this 36,600 line. But I also wrote, I probably won't do it though, and I didn't. But this shows why it's important to understand the difference between financial advice and education. For me, it didn't make so much sense to buy more, because I already had an allocation. Of course, more is always better when it goes up, but I felt it wasn't really necessary for me at that point. And I still have a substantial allocation, so of course I'm super happy for this rise that we've gotten here. But say that you didn't have an allocation, and you're thinking it's now the time to enter. Let's look at the chart. Because I would say at this particular time the answer is actually no for Bitcoin. The reason is that we're right below this resistance line here. It's slightly sloping, but it's almost horizontal. Resistance, 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 resistance yesterday, resistance today. So why would you buy just below the resistance? In these situations it's usually better when one of two things happen. Either we break through the resistance, okay, then the risk reward to buy is much better, or it reverses and we back up to one of the support lines. Buying there is also a much better risk reward. The key levels are this one, little over 40,000, and if that for some reason doesn't hold, of course we're back to this one, 36,600. And I think either of those two can happen here. We can either break through this, or we back up, we liquidate the late longers, and we run up again. And of course, personally, I'm not going to start second guessing my own process that has worked so incredibly well for so many years here. So of course, I want to see a nice, beautiful gold color on Larsson Line as well. And if we get that, say that we break through this resistance here, this almost becomes like a very ugly double bottom. And if we stay at these levels, the trend is definitely going to turn back up. Now there's an airplane, let's wait for it to pass. But what about the altcoins then? How is the Ethereum to USD chart looking and so on? I think the past couple of months what to do with altcoins has been super clear. And what to do has been to actually not look at for example, the Ethereum to USD chart. And instead look at the Ethereum to BTC chart. Here I'm going to switch back to weekly candles so we see this even clearer. Because despite all the drama on the Bitcoin to USD chart, not much has happened on the Ethereum to BTC chart all the way back to May last year. This chart is either in a range depicted by these boundaries or is a running upward sloping channel which I've drawn here with the orange lines. And both these are very well defined, so it's very clear what we're looking at here. So should this break down, it's definitely better to hold Bitcoin than hold Ethereum, and should it convincingly break up, maybe through both these patterns, I'll move more of my crypto allocation from Bitcoin over to Ethereum, because then good chances that this run continues. So I think what to do with Ethereum here is very clear. There's no need to try to guess what will happen. We can act when it actually plays out instead. And if we switch to BNB, it's the same and perhaps even clearer. You can't really miss it here. Look, we're in this range boundary here. Either it breaks on the upside or it breaks on the downside, and that's the time to take appropriate action. There's no need to try to guess it here. And Cardano ADA, I know many of you are very interested and passionate about that. Been to glout, but I did give you an exit with a stop loss here at the exact top. Larsson Line turned blue. Then I talked about this breakdown level here, and then there was reason for some optimism actually here, because we got an inverse head and shoulder that broke out here. But that head and shoulder breakout failed. Head and shoulder failure means that price goes back past the right shoulder, which was here. And that's an even stronger signal than the head and shoulder pattern in itself. So that indicated further downside here, and sure enough, that's exactly what has happened. If we look for the next support, it's probably down here at 1680 sats. So I'm not touching this one. Instead of buying ADA here, it would make more sense to hold that money in Bitcoin until this trend has reversed. Solana to BTC then, where we had this enormous run up last year. If we zoom in here, we see once again, guess what, a range, or actually multiple ranges. First price went into this range, bounce, 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 and then it broke down through this range. Larsson Line turned blue, then price found support at this level. Look here, support, 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 but here it broke down. And what has happened now is that price fell below that support line, and it has stayed there. Look, this support turned into resistance. Resistance here February 15th, February 16th, February 20, February 21, February 23, February 24th, 25th, 26th, 28th, and again today, 2nd of March. So buying just below resistance doesn't really make any sense. Why would you do that? It's usually better to either wait for this resistance to be reclaimed or the trend to turn back up, or preferably both. So as much as I am a Solana fan, I will patiently wait for an entry where I feel it's better risk reward. So if I make my philosophy super clear here, I have money that I've allocated to crypto. It can be in market or it can be out of market, depending on mainly if I feel the trend is on the way up or if it's on the way down, as proxied by my Larsson Line indicator. Then within the crypto domain, I can either allocate it to Bitcoin or I can allocate it to altcoins. And I take that as a separate decision after I've decided if the money should be in market or out of market. And as you saw, for example, Ethereum is in a range, so I'm in a wait and see mode. I don't do any changes there. And some others have fallen below support. I need to kind of reclaim that and find an uptrend again against Bitcoin before it makes sense to move more money from the Bitcoin allocation over to the altcoin allocation. And this has nothing to do with how much I like or hate or love that altcoin. On the contrary, I'm super interested and super passionate about a lot of technology, but then I want to hold as much exposure as possible to that asset asset, right? Not hold it through downtrends. Why would I do that? And if we zoom out even more and look at Bitcoin versus altcoins as a group instead, we see something very interesting. We've basically only had 3 trends here. First, back here, Bitcoin was everything. Then in spring 2017, Ethereum and altcoins really exploded, and Bitcoin dominance fell below this level, recovered, and found support here at around 40%. Then we had a recovery, a flight to safety, which in this market means Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance ran back up to 70% and actually hit that level twice. Second time in January 2021. Bitcoin was back in lead. Then 2021, we had the whole DeFi revolution with altcoins making a comeback. Bitcoin dominance hit this support at 40% once in May 2021, twice in September 2021, 3 times in January 2022 just now, and that support held one more time. So if we zoom in here, you can see that this is also in a new range, and this support seems rock solid. So I think the dream scenario now would be a Bitcoin-led rally, that Bitcoin turns up against the US dollar, and that this Bitcoin dominance makes another run up, and that the rally is led by the champion of this industry, which remains Bitcoin. Will that happen? That we don't know yet. And I forgot to say, please don't get scammed, guys. Larsson Line is only available from ctolarsson.com. Everything else is a scam, and there's a lot of them now in the comments on other places. Don't fall for it, please. So what to really do here? Guys, now is the time to prepare, to educate yourself. If you don't have money, watch all my free videos. I have put out a lot of valuable videos. Thank you, tack. CTO Larsson out. Hej då.